Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, folks. Welcome back to another, well, I would say 2 p.m. PST, but it's currently 2:15 PST. YouTube stream. I'm your host, Strange Bro Jim, and today, as you can see, we are first starting off with some Pega learning. We got some more videos to upload. I was able to get a few more uploaded last night. Didn't get nearly as much as I wanted to. Um, Need to get some of the older videos up, but I mean, I still got some videos there to work on. So at least there's that. Maybe I'll upload, some during it. Pardon me. Need some drink. There we go. All right. And then of course later on tonight we got some Genshin Impact. So that's going to be kind of focused a lot on story, and then we're going to maybe try the Ascension one last time. So, well, maybe not one last time, but we're going to attempt it again. But not, for if you're watching this on YouTube later, you probably don't really care too much about that. You want to know more about Pega. And believe me, I understand. Um, so a little bit about me concerning this. Um, Currently an unemployed software developer. Um, my last job involved Pega, and well, um, me and several others was a part of a training group that was led by an authorized training partner, which a lot of us, plus that training partner's own peers, own coworkers, did not appreciate. We were having some really, uh, we had a fair amount of difficulties with him, and we asked to be put back in with another different authorized training partner, but that never happened. I was forced into a certification attempt when I knew that I wasn't ready. A good majority of us had already switched over to self-study, trying to learn what we could through Pega Academy back then. Um, but I missed six more questions than the you know you had the bare minimum, and I had missed six additional questions along that. Um, Part of the problems was, one, I wasn't ready. I had not studied everything that there was to study, and I was definitely not prepared for the certification. Now, I could have tried to attempt it again the second time, maybe, and I might have passed it, maybe, but again, I wasn't really all that confident because um, some of the questions that was given to us was from Pega 7, not Pega 8.6 that we were being shown. So, but that's what happened with me. Now, hopefully, if you have an authorized training partner, or if you're part of the instructor-led training, you get a decent instructor that will teach you everything that there is to know about the Pega low-code environment, and will help you pass the certification easily. Okay. Um, but know that I am not an authorized training partner, and this is not meant to be an instructor-led training. Okay, I'm still learning my way to getting the system architect certification, so I am by far what you would call an expert on it. Now, if you do go for the instructor-led training, you're going to be paying quite a bit of money. For me, it's too much. I can't justify paying $5,000 up front. Um, so I just don't have that kind of cash. So I can't justify that. Okay. Um, but if you can, then I would recommend you do that because one would hope that the instructor that they give you, you know, I mean, being a part of Pega Academy, would know everything that there is to know about Pega and will help you pass the certification easily. But go in there with all your questions. Okay, don't hold back on questions to the instructor. Okay, give as many questions as you possibly can, ask as many as you possibly can. Just flood him with questions while you're learning everything from him because believe me, you're going to want to know as much as you can out of that instructor-led training, you know, to basically pass the certification with 100%, or at least attempt to, okay? Go in with that intention of getting as much information as you possibly can. Now, they're going to give everything at you like all at once kind of thing. So it's a lot of material in a short amount of time. So your brain is going to get overloaded quickly, okay? So you're probably going to want to take some time, you know, outside of the classes to try to process everything that was taught to you that day. Okay. It's not going to be easy, but like I said, one would hope that they would give you everything that you need to, everything that you would need to know to pass those certifications. Now, they have multiple classes for business architect, system architect, lead system architect, so on and so forth. Okay, so don't think that it's just one, it's just one class of instructor-led training and that's it. No, they have multiple classes, multiple topics, so don't worry along those lines. Okay. Last I will mention is that this is not this is not endorsed by Pega whatsoever. I'm not getting any kind of special treatment by the folks over at Pega. Um, you know, um, I'm not getting any kind of like monetary compensation. I'm not getting any kind of like special instructors on the side or anything along those lines. Okay, don't don't consider that at all, please. Don't think of it as such. Okay. I mean, the most that I would be getting are answers to my suggestions that I give. And while that has kind of dried up lately, um, you know, I don't consider that as a special treatment or anything along those lines. I would imagine that that's just something that they would normally do with anybody that they throw, that anybody that throws suggestions to them, especially if it's helpful, especially if it's something that, hey, you're having some issues with the platform, okay, we'll deal with it, okay. So, but that's it. That's everything about this. So now, um, we've already covered um, the business architect mission. So if this is what you're interested in, then go back through my old videos. I've already covered the two missions. I've already covered the two modules. So you can go through everything that I've covered there. Pick a topic that you're interested in, and um, I'll, I talk, I basically repeat the topic, and then I maybe share some of my own personal insights into it. Hopefully, um, you see some value in it. Um, if you do, would welcome any kind of, you know, like or subscriptions or anything along those lines. That would help me out with the YouTube. So maybe consider that if you are so inclined. Also, I would recommend if you are going for the business architect, also go for the Pega Express delivery mission as well because they they do the two modules here are basically the Pega Express delivery, but they don't give everything. So that's why I recommend the Pega Express delivery mission. to cover through it thoroughly. So, pardon me. It is a very warm day today, so I'm probably going to be doing a lot of hydrates. Okay. Um, Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm covering the 26 modules and 23 challenges of the system architect because that's my main goal is to getting through the system architect. Now, I may try to attempt the business architect as well, but my main goal is, getting that system architect certification and passing it and using it for getting myself another job again. So that's my plan. What you do, that's your business. I'll try to support you as much as I can. You know, um, um, you know, you support me, I'll support you. That's how the world works, right? Or at least it should work. So, okay. So we had covered rules and rule types. Um, we had rule sets for the next one, but we didn't go through it because they said that it's 5 minutes, and there's a lot of information here, so I doubt that that's going to be 5 minutes. So let's get into it, shall we? Rule sets. To pack rules for distribution as part of an application, you collect rules into a group called a rule set. A rule set identifies, stores, and manages the set of rules that define an application or a significant portion of an application. Okay. Yeah. So you know, um, so obviously, you have all your rules for your application, right? You can put it in all into one, but the problem with that is that if you want to, say, take a portion of that application and, apply it to another application, then it becomes really difficult to do that because now um, you don't have those individual rule set, individual rules that can be kind of easily distributed around. So rule set is nice because you can, as it says, a significant portion. You can package it up into one particular rule set, and then you can pass that rule set around. You know, like if you're doing something for an address, for example, under one particular rule set, then you can send that rule set over around to other parts of the application that deals with address. You get what I'm saying? So, if a rule is similar to a song, a rule set is similar to an entire album. Mm, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's sure. um, but one would hope that the all the rules within that rule set has like a similar style to it, or um, like the album has a certain theme, and every song is part of that theme. You get what I'm saying? Um, Otherwise, it'd be very odd to have a rule set with songs that are um, like in different genres, right? Like if you have an album that has, you know, country music for the first song, rock for the second song, dubstep for the third song, electronica for the fourth song, classical for the fifth song. It'd be like you're looking at that rule set and going, what the hell is going on with this? You get what I'm saying? So, one would think that an album would be kind of set to like a specific genre for that song. Like, hey, this album is all about country, so all the rules are similar to that country feel. So you got to be careful with that. You know, now it could be, some people could throw that kind of stuff into one particular rule set. I don't know. I'm not like I said, I'm not an expert. So I'm just kind of throwing out, what I would figure would be happening. But I can be completely wrong too. So, okay, let's go. Okay, just as you copy the album to share with a friend and allow your friend to listen to your favorite song, you can share a rule set between applications to allow several applications to use the same rules. The ability to reuse already built rules saves development time and effort. Yeah. I mean, you can try to pull, that one particular rule out and, use it as a reuse, but, you know, you typically want to, you know, it if you can get like a rule set, you know, that handles more, but it's still applicable to other applications, then that's even better. So, like, sure, you can copy, one line of code and reuse it over and over and over again, throughout an application. But wouldn't you want to have more of like a function that can be reused over and over and over? Or maybe a class? Or maybe an entire file? You get what I'm saying? You know, um, if you can reuse, some of that code um, in your application to do something that you need to do, then why try to reuse one line of code when you could potentially reuse an entire file, with thousands of lines of code. So bear that in mind. Rule set versioning. Developers can collect individual rules into an instance of a rule set, called a rule set version. To update the contents of the rule set, you create a new rule set version. The new rule set version is available or unlocked for the developer to make rule updates and add new rules. It is a best practice to lock older versions of the rule set. Rule set versioning helps developers identify and manage changes to an application. Pega platform manages the creation of rules and identifies the rule set and version in which to store rules for applications created in App Studio. Pega platform identifies rule sets by names and version numbers. For example, an application to process expense reports includes a rule set named expense. Pega platform appends a version number to the rule set name. Expense 010203 is version number 010203 of the expense rule set. I mean, okay. The fact that they're repeating that part is like, I mean, it's kind of like a given, but at the same time, um, I guess it's necessary. Whatever. We move on. The version number is divided into three segments: the major version, a minor version, and a patch version. Each segment is a two-digit number starting with 01 and increasing to 99. Rule set versioning numbering starts at 01, 01, and 01 and increments upward. So, um, so think of it this way. You need to fix a line of code in your entire application. Well, that would be a patch version. You're trying to fix a bug in your application. You need to change one line of code. That's a patch. Okay. You have multiple bugs, and you need to handle multiple updates, or maybe there's like maybe a missing field that you need to add in, or something along those lines. Nothing that major. You're just adding, you know, a little bit of content or fixing some minor issues. then that would fall under the minor version. A major version is when you're like adding a whole new kind of feature in the application. Like you are, um, like instead of, you have the shipping address, right? Or you actually no, you have the billing address, okay? And your application, handling all the transactions and stuff like that. But then you suddenly get requests for customers saying, "Hey, I would instead of you shipping it to my billing address, I would like you to ship it to my home address or another business address or something along those lines, right?" So now you need to add a shipping address into the application. That might that might fall under the major version, you know, maybe. Or maybe you're adding a whole new section to like insurance. Like, hey, you're doing car insurance, car insurance, car insurance, and suddenly you get into boat insurance. That would probably fall under the major version. You get what I'm saying? Oh boy, I'm gonna be using the restroom later. Okay, so um, hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea on everything here. Now, here's a small problem that I have with their focus here. Okay, is the fact that they're doing two-digit numbers, for the versioning, and you know I've seen um I've seen people do, like you look at any kind of application, you can look at any kind of like major application like Windows, for example, or something like that, right? Well, Windows goes through a lot of patches, to handle a lot of different changes that happens almost on a daily basis, right? 99 versions is not gonna cover all those version updates. So normally, whenever you look at, an application, whenever you're looking at, you know, a, um, someone working on an application, there's going to be a lot more than just 99 possible patches that happen, with an application. So it's kind of unfortunate that they focus, on a two-digit number for the version numbers. Okay, I say this because I remember, um, think back, Y2K. All that problem came about the fact that, hey, they only had two digits. You know, personally, I would say that they should really uncap the digit number there. You know, because leave the developers, however many digits that they want for the major version, minor version, and patch version. Because once they get to 99, 99, and 99, and they don't really want to make a new application altogether, then what happens? What happens when they want to make another patch? Now you're having problems with, either overwriting previous rules. You're basically clobbering past version control, um, you know, I see that as very dangerous. But again, who am I to say, right? I mean, they could easily change those numbers from binary. Well, I mean, not even binary because it's not even. They're not even dealing with binary numbers. You know, they're actually dealing with, you know, digits. Um, I forget exactly how what um, variable has only two. That's only 2 digits long. Is that a short? I can't remember. But um, don't really deal with too many uses of the you know, different um, variable types. You know, except for the, you know, the basics. You know, int, string, so on and so forth. But um, all right, let's move on. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about the segments of rule set versions. Major version represents a substantial release of an application. A major version change encompasses extensive changes to application functionality. For example, the accounting department uses an application to manage expense reports. If accounting wants to extend the application to track employee time off for payroll accounting, you create a new major version of the rule set. Minor version represents an interim release of enhancements to a major release. For example, you need an update to you need an update an expense reporting application to make automatic audit travel reimbursements. You create a new minor version of the rule set. And patch version. Patch version consists of fixes to address bugs in an application. For example, you notice that a field in the current version of an application has an incorrect label. You create a new patch version to correct the field label. Rule set stack. Each application consists of a sequence of rule sets called a rule set stack. The rule set stack determines the order in which Pega platform looks through rule sets to find the rule that is in use. Each entry in the rule set stack represents all the versions of the specified rule set, starting with the listed version and working down to the lowest minor and patch version for the specified major version. Each version of the application contains a unique rule set stack. The rule set stack allows an updated application to reference new rule set versions that contain updates and new features. Okay, so notice how you know, you have the application as the expense, you know, of, you know, 010101, right? That's the first, you know, that's what it, you know, was first introduced at, right? And then you have like additional parts, additional rule sets that get added in. You know, you have the credit check, you know, 010202. You have another rule set for ABC int, you know, 010102. You have ABC with 010102. Then you have expense int of 010105. And, you know, all that, um, you know, is a part of the expense application, you know, um, you know, with the expense 010105 as the most recent rule with a lot of rules accompanied into it. Okay, so um, now what they didn't necessarily show in this, which is kind of unfortunate because they probably could have, is they could have shown something like expense 010104 down below here to show that it had been locked, you know, but they didn't show that. So, you know, typically you want the expense 010104 to completely be locked down below without having to worry about, you need that locked in order to move on to the next version of this. And here's the thing with this. Um, the fact that you have 010105 here with 567 rules. Now that's all the rules in this entire rule set, you know, and that's including all the 01, 02, 03, 04, and 05. Okay. But here's the thing. Here's what's kind of worrisome. If I was seeing this, I'd be like little worried, a little bit worried here because not once have they added in a minor version. You know, so how many they did 5 patch jobs on it. How many rules did they add between 01 and 05? Don't know. Now, an expense report, it could be like all like 560 rules. That could have been version number 1. They could have had like 560 rules in the first version, and then each patch that they did, they upped it by 1 obviously, and then they had like 1 additional rule in there. They could have done that if they really wanted to. Probably would have been kind of a um, waste of a patch really, because it would be like, oh, we're only fixing 1 bug in the entire expense report. Okay, well we'll just do it in 1 single patch. It's like, no, no, no. You kind of want to try to group everything, a lot of things, kind of into one if you can. You know. So yeah, it's weird. You know. So they're not showing any of the previous versions on here, which is, I feel, um, kind of a short side, kind of short-sighted on their part, because you can show like, hey, ABC, version 1 was locked, and version 1 had 10 rules. And, for version 2, we're currently up to 20, you know, of patches. We had to do like 10 additional patch jobs to our original 10 or something like that. You never know. Okay. For example, Bob is a developer working on the first version of an application to manage expense reports. Bob creates rules for the first version of the application, such as processes, UIs, and notifications. Bob collects these rules into the first version of the expense rule set, expense 010101. After several iterations of deploying to a QA environment and bug fixes, the expense rule set is versioned multiple times up to 05 before being deployed to production. Months later, Tanya receives an enhancement request to update the UI of the application to collect extra information from employees due to policy change. This update enhances the rules created earlier by Bob. Tanya creates rules to model this new behavior in a second version of the rule set, expense 010201. She then uses the expense 010201 rule set in the updated expense reporting application. So, if you're not really understanding what's going on there. Okay, so Bob, worked on building up expense version 1. Okay, he then made a lot of patches over the time, updating the expense report over and over and over again up to, the 5th version, okay, of the expense report. And that 5th version is what everybody was using. And, um, what the entire business was using at the time for the expense report, right? Um, they weren't using version 1 because there was bugs in it. They had to fix those bugs to get it to version 5, so that the current application right at this moment in time running would be version 5. Okay. Then Tanya comes in and says, "Hey, I need a minor change to the application to include, this new UI." Okay. So she takes version 5, adds in, that new UI and multiple new rules to handle that new UI and all the additional rules associated with it. Okay, and came to minor version 2, you know, um, basically, 2.1 instead of 1.5. Okay, and now the business is using 2.1, instead of version 1.5. If they were using 1.5, they wouldn't be able to use the UI. So, hopefully, by reading through this and, my additional explanation, you understand. Um, and since I'm basically repeating what they just did, but, you could, you know, hopefully you get it. All right. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about the rule set stacks. So, application version 1. Employees who use the first version of the expense application see the UI that Bob created. The rule set stack for the first version is spread across both app versions and does not include Tanya's rule set version 2. Users can continue to use Bob's UI view while she develops the second version. So, here's the first version, collecting information, blah blah blah, first name, last name, date of birth, blah blah blah. That's the first version, right? Well, application 2, Tanya's rule set version 2 adds an additional Social Security number 10 field to the UI rule originally developed by Bob. Only users who use the application containing Tanya's rule set version 2 can view and use the new field. So there's that new field. It's still using Bob's, first name, last name, date of birth without any changes to those, because we're not necessarily, we might be adding some additional bug fixes in those 3, maybe. That might be warranted, to be included within the rule set version 2. It's not unheard of to add in, additional bug fixes in there if it needs it. Okay, but if you want to include the social security number, then you're gonna need to use version 2. If you use version 1.5, you're not going to see that social security number and don't know if your application is going to work properly if you're still using the older version. Okay. Like the database might be looking for you to add in the social security number. If you're only using version 1 and it's saying, "Hey, I don't have the social security number for the database," then how the database is going to handle it? It's not going to know what to do, right? So just kind of bear that in mind when you're doing rule sets like this. Don't overlook that. Make sure that you handle the rule sets um, that you need to have for your business. Okay. Technically, the business should have only one spot that people can view the application. You know, um, they should be like accessing like one particular spot on their server to view the application and work with the application, right? So, um, you know, um, um, so yeah, if you don't have the, if you don't change that spot on your server to only be using version 2, like if you have like, version 1 on one part of your server and version 2 on another completely part of your server, and parts of your business is still focused on using version 1, then you're going to have problems. You're going to have some data problems there. So, all right. Rule set best practices. Use the following best practices when creating rule sets. Naming conventions. For application rule sets, use unique names that are meaningful in a business context and easy to remember to clearly convey the purpose of the rule set. For example, in a banking application, name your rule set as accounts to store rules related to accounts. Well, I mean, you don't need to specifically name it accounts. You could have, um, you can name it whatever the hell you want to. Okay, you don't have to be like, oh my God, if I name it if I don't name it accounts, I'm gonna break the application. No, 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 no. Don't worry too much about that. Okay, you know, find rules, find the naming conventions that you in the business want to use and kind of stick with those kind of rule sets. Okay, um, you know, you don't have to follow their examples to the T. Meaning that if you are creating a baking application, you don't need to specifically have a rule set called accounts in that banking application. You don't need to have that. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, um, but on the other hand, you do want like it says, unique names that are meaningful in the business context. Okay, if you're dealing with banking accounts, and you name that rule set Jabberwocky, someone that's going to be coming into your rule sets and going, what the hell is it? What the hell is this application using a rule set of Jabberwocky? What, what are you doing? What are you talking about? You get what I'm saying? Use rule sets that are meaningful. So, you know, um, think of it this way. Here's another example, right? Maybe your banking application um, is is necessary for multiple different types of banks, but they're all kind of under one particular banking umbrella, right? You know, like let's say that Wells Fargo, Bank of America, U.S. Bank, whatever. Those are all under one particular banking umbrella, and someone wants to make a banking application that works for all three of those banks, right? Well, are you gonna say accounts? Well, um, what accounts are you referring to? Are you referring to the Wells Fargo accounts? Are you talking about the Bank of America accounts? Are you talking about the U.S. Bank accounts? What accounts are you referring to? You get what I'm saying? So you could say something like Wells Fargo accounts, Bank of America accounts, U.S. Bank accounts, whatever. You know, that's my point. Is that you can name it however you want to. So so you know, do what you want to get that meaningful, name in business context. All right. For organization, division, and shared rule sets, begin your rule set name with a phrase that clearly identifies your company and the business purpose, and avoid using acronyms that might be difficult to decode. For example, name your rule set U plus Teleco Contracts instead of UPTC, unless everybody knows that UPTC is U plus Teleco Contracts. It depends, right? Um, like maybe you have something more beyond that, you know. Um, um, like maybe you have UPTC auditors or something like that, you know. Um, Now, I'm not saying that, you know, both could be perfectly fine. Okay. Um, like I said, it all depends on your organization, on your business. Okay. What would they prefer seeing? Okay. Do they want to see the acronym because it's just a common acronym that everybody uses? God forbid, feel sorry for anybody new there that gets in there and goes, what is UPTC? You know, they might not know, right? So obviously, you'd want to make sure that you put in a, good description, you know, for that named rule set. You know, make sure, if you do go with an acronym, put it in the description that this acronym stands for this, you know, in the description. That helps, you know, um, because um, it's just going to be pretty much devs that are looking at the rules anyway. So, um, and any dev worth their salt is going to be able to kind of look at the, description of the rule set, and if you are describing that rule set thoroughly, if you have proper documentation, then there won't be any kind of confusion. But you need that documentation. So do not use Pega or Pega minus as a prefix for your rule set names. These prefixes are restricted to internal use in the Pega platform and cause unexpected behavior. Meaning that, Pega and Pega minus are already defined. Okay, they're already being used in that environment, in that tool. So if you try to add those in, then the Pega environment might be like looking at those new rules and going, "Oh, you're part of the main base operation of your entire environment. Okay, well then we need to use this all the time then within our environment." And well, then you could be basically unexpectedly breaking your full-on application as well as your tool. You could be breaking Pega completely with that, you know. So obviously they're gonna try to stop you from doing that, but be careful. So avoid using spaces in rule set names. The maximum length of a rule set name is 32 characters. So, so use camel case, if anything, to um, well, and this isn't necessarily an example of camel case, but still, um, you know, and just make sure that you combine them all together and stuff like that. Avoid the use of special characters such as dashes, underscores, plus signs, or quotes. The system does not permit the saving of rules with these attributes. So just kind of stick with um, um, you know, alpha characters. Um, it does not mention numeric, so it could be an alphanumeric system. So um, so yeah, just just bear that in mind. To avoid having the same rule set in multiple applications, instead refactor the rule set to its own application or a common application for saving rule sets. Let's see, limit development to rule sets in the topmost application layer and keep built-on applications locked. All right. So yeah, basically, hey, um, you want to open up, version 5? Great. You're gonna have to lock version 4. Consider creating a major version of your application if you update your application server or database to a major new version. Hmm. Okay. Not sure why that. Not quite sure why that is necessary for a new major version. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. Um, could I maybe get a why on this? Why would you want to update? Why would you want to create a new major version if all you're doing is, updating your application server or database server? What's that all about? You're not changing your application. You're just updating where this application is located at or the database that it uses. Why does that have anything to do with the application itself? I'm not sure why that is necessary. If you know, let me know. Please answer my question with this because I have no clue. Doesn't make any sense to me why you'd want to update your application if all you're, changing is the location of the app, or if you're updating the server on where the application is located at, like maybe there's a firmware update that needs to be handled with the server. So why would you be updating your application to a new major version for that? That doesn't really make that much sense to me. But I don't know. That seems like an odd best practice. Um, maybe I'll ask them about that. Like, add a suggestion as to why you want to consider that. Increment rule set versions frequently to easily track updates to your application over time. Um, I mean, you're gonna be updating the versions anyway um, with bug updates, right? So now, um, I could I can understand them going, well, hey, wait, you don't want to put like, hey, here's one bug fix, here's another bug fix, there's another bug fix, here's another bug fix, you have 100 bug fixes, right? but you don't update the main application. You know, you're updating all these, you're fixing all these bugs, but you're not fixing your main application because you're not, you know, you're not, um, you're, uh, you know, the people that use your application is still looking at that version 1. So if they want to see all those bug fixes, you're gonna need to put in that version 2 in there and then, you know, have the application look at it. So yeah. Frequently, I don't know about that, but you know, at the very least, you're gonna want to update your rule set. You know, if you have a lot of um, you know, bug fixes, minor fixes, major fixes, what have you. So create a new rule set with a top tier class that inherits directly from base class. Hmm. To learn more about managing rules in rule sets, see organizing rules into rule sets. Um, I'm not quite sure about this one. Why are we doing that one again? Hold on a second. Let me see if they addressed it in here. So first thing I want to do is I want to search for base class. It's not there. Okay. So, but of course, there's additional links to other parts that you can look at. Okay. Um, okay, check your knowledge with the following interaction. Let me do that. Let me then take a screenshot and then send in the suggestion asking, okay, I look at these and I'm wondering why. Because you're not really explaining why you want to go and do those. I mean, the rest of these, they are pretty much standard. I can kind of understand why for these. I'm not really understanding the why for these. So, alright. The current version of a travel booking application sends an automated booking confirmation email that includes the wrong customer name and case number. How do you address this issue? This would be probably a patch. Yeah, because it's just a bug fix. You know, if you're adding in the customer name and case number, then that would probably be more of a minor version. If you are adding in the full process of handling travel booking application, you know, then you might be looking at a major version. So, all right, let me take a screenshot of this real quick. One second. Okay. So I see see this topic, this suggestion, and I'm a bit confused. Why would someone make a major version update for a server update? Why would the application inherit directly from base class? You give ideas, but no reasoning behind them. Could you explain to me and within the topic itself? That would be helpful. Thank you. All right. So that's going to be it for that. And I, like I mentioned before, I need to use the restroom. Had too much to drink already. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and close on down for this. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm gonna go quickly, so hopefully I'll catch you all on the next time. Um, yeah, look forward to the next video. Take care, everybody. See you next time.